we just met him on the race course, and we introduced him to the concept of the syndicate, and he liked it. So he took a share in the horse, and he became part of the syndicate. And we brought him up to the stables, and we visited the horse at the stables, and he touched the horse, and then he had a little tear in his eye, and then said, "Uncle Philip, what's wrong?" And he's like, in his 30 plus years of punting, that's the first time he laid his hand on a horse, and that's what we are about. That's what we want.
Welcome to another edition of In the Box Seat with myself, Warren Lenferna, and a bushy-haired friend of a different kind today. Rahiel Radhakrishna is my co-host. Andrew Harrison, my other bushy-haired friend, not with us today. He's up at his headquarters in Ashburton and waiting to do lots of work, and I will be joining him a little bit later on to do the work. But for now, it's Rahiel Radhakrishna and I. Rahiel, how are you?
Very well, thanks. And yourself, Warren?
Good, thank you. I'll introduce our guest to you in a moment, but I want to tell you all that I've been beating on the drum for a long time, that we can get owners involved in the game. It's not only about punting and gambling, it's also the other experience of horse racing, and that's owning a share in a racehorse. There's syndicates all over the world that get people involved from as little as 1% to 100%. And it gives me great pleasure today to have two of the founding members of the Peoples Syndicate on our podcast today. Two brothers, you'll hear as we go along, and I'll introduce Akshay Satyanand and Yeshay Sathanand to our podcast, two founding members of the Peoples Syndicate. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hi, Warren. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Now, I can see that you're a lot more relaxed, and your brother is a little bit nervous.
Yeah, he's a bit tensy, this guy.
You're a bit tensy. Now take a deep breath, relax, and we're going to have an enjoyable time today, and we're going to speak and enjoy ourselves, our next hour that we've got together, and we're going to talk about the Peoples Syndicate. So, welcome. Okay, let's talk about the syndicate. There are nine original members. The syndicate has since grown, but we're going to talk about the 9 original founding members, if you want to call it. Of which 2 of them are sitting around this table, which is fantastic. But let's talk about the other 7 then. Who are the 9 members, the founding members?
So the syndicate started with the 9 of us. So it was myself, Josh, Rahiel, you, Warren, Mr. Barsifolian, Mr. Sterling Miller, my dad, Mac, and Ryan, one of our friends.
Yeah, Ryan, bodybuilder Ryan.
Yes, same one.
Is that his? What is he? What he does those? Deadlifts? Deadlift,
yeah.
Powerlifting Ryan. Yeah. Okay, so that's him.
Incredibly strong.
He's our bodyguard. Absolutely, we've got more bodyguards on the race course than people know. But that's just a joke. The 2 of you. Actually, I'm going to direct this question at you. You and your brother have got quite a big gap in age.
Yeah, it's about 14 years.
14 years, okay. So it was like me, and I'm 43, my brother's 53, and my sister's 54. So there's also a big gap there. But he gives you a hard time, or you give him a hard time?
It works both ways. He gives me a hard time, I give him a hard time.
Give it back. But at the end of the day, the 2 of you, having learnt, having met your family and learnt and been together, you race together, you punt together, and you just love one another's company.
Yeah, most of the time. Some days, you wish you never had a brother.
It's killing him to say that. It's killing him to say that.
I think it's the age gap that creates that little bit of tension.
Yes.
But other than that, it's okay.
It's okay. Okay. Well, let's talk about making friends, because the whole racing experience, as I keep saying on any platform that I talk on, it's not only about the punting, it's not only about the breeding. There's so much more to it. We'll talk about one of the members now, Uncle Philip, who's joined us, and we'll talk about his experience later on. But you guys, and feel free to share your story as well, because lots of friends made on the racecourse.
Absolutely, Warren. I think it's important that when you come to races, you're not alone. You obviously have to make a lot of friends, and especially when you're in a group of people and you shouting home a winner, or you just shouting for us. I mean, that excitement, that adrenaline rush, and I'm sure Yeshay and Akshay can second on this because it's something special.
Well, there was a horse the other day that I got phone calls from people to say that I think it was Alto Alex, was it? Or it was one of the horses that you guys liked. It was a grey horse. And, of course, one of the syndicate members had a share in that horse, or owned the horse. But you guys just were going mad on the grandstand.
Oh yeah, we were shouting her home for Mr. and Mrs. Fullion. I think it was also for one of the trainers we have a horse with them, Mr. Prinsloo. So we wanted it to win for him and the owners.
Yeah, I must say that grandstand erupted on that day. It was really great.
Absolutely.
So good friends are made, and that's what's good. You guys are and girls, because there's also girls involved, everybody enjoys, not everybody, but most people enjoy having a bet, having a bit of a tickle, having a punt, call it what you like. But there was always that dream, and I'll start with you, Akshay, there was always that dream to have a little interest as an owner in a racehorse. Tell us about that.
To be honest with you, we've been going to the race course I've been going to the race course for about 12 years, and I always wanted to be in the owner circle. It's like everyone's dream as a punter. And thanks to the syndicate, that finally happened.
Yeah, that going into the talking about the experience, we'll get to coming to the stables and coming to the track in the mornings, but to go into the parade ring, into the winners area, into the parade ring, into that circle with all the other owners and trainers, that's also just on its own as an experience.
Oh yeah, it's overwhelming especially if you're a punter. If you've been punting all your life, you haven't had that experience. It can be like overwhelming and really exciting. Just to be in the owners, the parade ring, and speaking to the trainers, getting to see your trainer up close, even other trainers. It's actually, when you stand in the center of that ring, it's a different perspective as compared to when you're outside looking at the horse and punting. Yeah. It's actually really strange, and I hope that punters actually do get a chance to see it.
We'll talk about other experiences, as I say, a little bit later, but how did the idea of the syndicate, and I direct the question to you, but I mean everyone can have their input, but how did the idea of the syndicate come about, and how did the name come about? I'll start with you.
I think it's more so that Yeshay sort of came up with the idea, and he obviously mentioned it to a few of us, and it was more of him wanting it to be accessible to more people, the average punter, to get involved, because as you mentioned, racehorse ownership, you've mentioned it a lot of times. It's not expensive, but
if it's done correctly, correct. Yeah. And it's you're right. You say not expensive. It is a costly sport, but it can be affordable at a lower percentage,
Absolutely.
Which is fantastic. But the point I was always trying to make is that it's accessible to anyone.
That's it. And what Yeshay sort of wanted to do is just make it accessible to the average punter. And as you mentioned, 1% share is good enough in a horse. You don't need to own 50% of the horse or 100% of the horse. You can just own 1% of the horse, and that's what his goal was. And you can obviously touch more about the name and how you came up with the idea.
How did that name come about, the Peoples Syndicate?
Actually, I can't take any credit for the name. I have to give all the credit to Ryan. He decided the name, and we just worked with the concept that we were going with. I think that racehorse ownership from the outside can look a bit daunting.
Yes.
Especially in terms of costs and expenditure, and trying to keep things on a budget, especially in the economy that we're in now. So we wanted to do something whereby we wanted people who love horse racing, who have a passion for it, but are not necessarily rich.
Yes.
To feel what it's like to own a racehorse and come to the stables, meet the trainers, see your horse work at the track. That was important to us. And the most important thing that we wanted to emphasize is that even if you take a 1% share with us in a horse, we want you to have the full experience.
Sure.
So you can own 50% or you can own 1%, but we wanted you to feel every bit of it.
One thing that's also important about racehorse ownership and about everything in life, actually, but one thing in particular when people ask me about owning horses, etc., because you might get an owner that wants to buy 10 horses on his or her own and not get involved in syndicates and partnerships, and it's a sensitive subject, but it's a reality. With ownership there comes costs, is what I'm saying, and those costs have to be met. Those bills have to be paid. Those trainers, it's a whole knock-on effect. They've got the staff to worry about. They've got the feed to feed the horse. You can't just say, well, yes, I want to own a racehorse and that's it. But there's costs involved. And unfortunately, whether it's due to hard times, whether it's due to incompetence, whether it's due to whatever it may be, some people may fall behind, and you've got to pay. That's the message I've given across, because it's like if you buy a dog and you take a dog home, you don't just leave the dog lying on the couch and don't feed it, don't vet it, don't look after it. There are costs that have to be met.
Oh yes, definitely, and you have to meet those commitments. I think
It's a commitment. That's the right word.
Fortunately for us, we have, like we said, Mr. Barsifilian and Mr. Sterling Miller involved in our syndicate, and they've been incredible with us. Supporting us, backing the concept, always there to give us advice,
Sure.
or whenever we need anything. And it's important because they are established owners
Correct.
in horse racing.
They've
and
been there. They've done it.
Yeah. And if you don't take advice from them, then who do you take advice from?
I think that's also a really good thing, that you have people that are well known in the game that are supporting this new idea, and especially new people sort of coming into the ownership game, that when you have experienced guys that are backing you 100%, and they support you in what you're doing, it's always good, and it gives you more motivation and more confidence going forward.
Yeah, I think that it's the enthusiasm for it really showed, and then it shows that they obviously want to grow the industry. Even though they put so much into it, they still want people to experience what they experience.
Sure. And you would have found maybe Akshay, the syndicate gets busy and you need horses, so you get one or two horses, and then the shares get taken, and then you get stuck in a bit of a lull. It's like any business. It's up and down, and I think we've noticed that already, that it's been busy with inquiries, and then it goes a little quiet. But then it's up to us to go again and market and drive it again.
Forward. Yeah, I think that's the tough part is, like I said, horse racing ownership can be daunting to people because the actual costs are never ever put out there.
Well, it's hard to, you're correct, unless you some syndicates have you build in your 1 year off. When we got involved with the International Racing Club and with some other syndicates, then you know what you're going to pay. You pay your once-off fee, and that's it. But some syndicates are different. Some are month-to-month fees, but it's hard to try and predict exactly what you're going to spend to the cent.
No, 100%. So I think the IRC, they have put together a good package, but I think it's because they're more established, and they have a ballpark figure that they will probably work with and that they know works.
Yes.
So until we get to that point, I don't think we're able to do that. But at the moment, we're just trying to entice people or get people on board to get the feeling of racing, and everyone that's joined us from our inception to now seems to have had a good time, and I'm sure you'd have positive feedback from them.
Absolutely.
And before we go there, I mean, touching on horses, how many horses do you guys have at the moment?
So at the moment, we have 4 horses in training. We've got 2 babies that we bought at the yearling sale, and we've got one with Mr. Tini Prinsloo, Namub's Rus. She ran a good 4th last week. And we've got another horse, Winning Single with Vaughan Marshall.
That's a full brother to Winning Singles, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so just the 4 at the moment. But as we get more interest from people, we'll possibly expand that.
Well, I think the four horses in a young syndicate like this is
it's brilliant for him,
and I think the second runner earned the 4th
Oh,
stake.
Yeah. Namub's Rus did run 4th. She earned our first stake check.
Yes.
And we shouted her into the 4th box like she was a good thing.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
fantastic.
4 horses, and it's not even 2 months that the syndicate has come about.
Yeah.
Winning single. You see, now I'm calling it singles because one good friend and syndicate member, he'll know who he is, calls it Winning Singles. But so Winning Single had the 1 run and was just out of it, but will improve, I'm sure. And our the second runner was the 4th check. So yeah, it was good. And Namibs was very unlucky in the running.
Oh, very unlucky. But you know what? I think that the journey that horse has been on from where she was to now,
Phenomenal.
I think it's pretty amazing. It's a story that maybe one day if you see us at the course, maybe just ask us about it and we'll show you a few pics and you won't believe it.
Yeah, that fourth was like a win. It certainly was. But how did... you bump into I bump into a lot of people and you say, well, why don't you come horse racing? Or what work? They ask me, what line of work are you? And I say, I'm in horse racing. They say, horse what? Where do they do that? And we need to improve on that. But how did you hear about horse racing, Akshay? Where did it all start for you?
I guess it's kind of in my blood because my dad was a punter, Yeshay was a punter, and both of my uncles were punters. But I think the first time I laid eyes on a horse, I was about 4 or 5 that I can remember. And I just loved them to bits.
Yeah, there are animals that you
Love at first sight.
yeah, absolutely. Same sort of scenario through the family.
Yeah, so like my first July, I went with my dad and my uncle Barry. I actually backed the winner that July.
Okay.
Anton won on Hunting Tower, I think it was.
Okay, so Charles led.
Yeah, and that was my first experience of a July, and once I tasted that feeling, I don't think I ever looked back.
Been addicted ever since.
For better or worse.
For which one of you used to on the couch riding home, the horse on the car? Was it you?
Oh, it's so Akshay is because the age difference is so vast.
Yes.
I actually like grew him up, you know.
Yes.
And Akshay was in love with Anton Marcus, you know. Superman was his guy.
Okay.
He had a little rocking horse.
Okay.
And we had to buy him a jockey outfit.
You've got to get us some pictures of that.
I do have a few at home, and he's just, you know, whooping that rocking horse and going for it.
That's good fun. Okay, so those are good memories. You come to the races, say you, but those that come to the races at Hollywood Bets Greyville. Not so much at Hollywood Bets Scottsville, although it does get nice and busy at Hollywood Bets Scottsville, especially the picnic sites, but purely because, you know, Greyville's right there. It's accessible. It's
City centre.
City centre, it's there. The vibe seems to be good. Yes, we've just come out of COVID, but even on a quiet Monday afternoon, I say it, you know, I make the joke, I say, look at all the lovely people that have come to the races. There are a lot of people are on leave today because they're all at the races, but however they get there, they're always there, Akshay and Yeshay.
Yeah, I think that Gold Circle and Hollywood have been doing a fantastic job at marketing racing, and you know, it's, like I said, once you get an introduction into racing, I think that it's something that sticks with you. It's like supporting a good soccer team. It never leaves you. And I think that Gold Circle and Hollywood have done a great job with that, marketing the brand and trying to get horse racing out there to the people.
The vibes, as you say, you know, you look out the window around the parade ring, there's always people there, there's always the regulars, and what's the word amongst them when you chat to them? Because you guys, you don't like to race in restaurants, you like to race there with the horses, with the jockeys, with the trainers, with the punters. What's the vibe? What are they saying? Are they talking, you know, are they happy with what's going on course?
Most of the punters are friendly to each other. But you know, you get one or two of them that are not that friendly.
That's life. You unfortunately going to get that in any aspect of life, but that needs to change too. But that's for another day.
And I think one of the things that the racecourse needs, or it's bringing a vibe back to it, is you're seeing a lot of young people getting into horse racing again. Okay. And I think that's really nice to see.
Yeah, that certainly is. And talking about young people, it's all about social media. It's all about this machine in your hand, you know. I'm the old school. I like to have my hard copy in front of me, and I know that a lot of the youngsters, including yourselves, although you and I are we youngsters? These two are youngsters. We youngsters.
Well past the young.
and everything's at your fingertips. So you know your form guides are here, your reruns here, everything's here. This is the way forward. So Gold Circle have taken that social media, and I think they've rocked it, to be quite honest with you.
Oh, no, definitely. I mean, if you look at the response time on their social media pages, the first race runner has won. In about 30 minutes max, the pictures are up on social media. That's what it's about. Be quick on the ball and keeping everyone up to date.
Because also not everybody is on course.
Yeah,
you know, you're
100%.
off course. You want to get that information. You want to get the results. You want to get the what's happening. You want to get the replays.
And also the replays, I mean...
Yeah, the replays are up quick now.
TV department and their team, it's almost instant. Once the race has been run, within 5 to 10 minutes, the replay of the race is up. And the express clip, exactly. And if you missed the first race, but maybe you had the horse that ran second, you can always watch back the clip, and I think that's very informative to the punter as well.
Yeah. Also, the way, you know, to have those preview shows posted up as well also helps. They break them down race by race, and if you know you're not punting on the whole card, you want to hear what the analysts have said about races 3 and 6. It's all there quickly at your fingertips. So
that's it.
Yeah, it's fantastic the new way that the racing previews are done. I mean, the information for the punter is vital. That's what we take a bet on, information.
Absolutely. Transparency is key in this game.
Let's jump to that actually, because it's on the agenda and it's a little bit later in the agenda, but transparency is key. And you were telling me at breakfast earlier on that there is transparency, but you believe it could do with a bit of improvement.
Oh, definitely. I think that, you know, I don't think that trainers and staff realize how important their opinion is of an horse. It's not maybe because of their own fault, but just that they don't look at it from a punter's perspective.
Sure.
Like, you would listen to a trainer because it's their horse. And if you look at, for example, Cape Racing, the interviews are
a dozen.
There are a lot of them. And I think that our KZN trainers, they're really, really nice people. I mean, I'm sure we can get them, more of them on board to get the previews done and get speaking to them and their opinion more.
Sure. Because we've also got to realize, and you're right, we all fall into that we get so stuck into our daily routine that actually the trainers and the jockeys are our heroes. You want to hear from them. You want to hear what they're going to say. You want to hear about. You don't want to necessarily hear "can't lose," "racing certainty." Those things don't exist. We know that. But you want to hear. We make a joke with you. We always say you get quite emotional and you just love to meet the trainers because you look up to them. You're punting on their horses. You want to hear what they're going to say.
Like it's surreal when you meet them in real life compared to watching them on the TV all the time.
Absolutely.
Like in relation to soccer, they are our superstars.
Correct. It's soccer. You got your superstars in soccer. You got your superstars in rugby. And if you're a rugby fan, you want to hear what the captain says. You want to hear what the players say. You want to hear their thoughts on the game. So it's a good point. But let's move on to the Hollywood Bets Durban July this year. I'll start with you because you worked at the day, as did I. The atmosphere, just wonderful to see the crowds back at the Hollywood Bets Durban July.
Absolutely, Warren. And I think Hollywood Bets, they did a fantastic job, especially starting with the Gallops Day. You got the crowd in, and there was lots of marketing for this event, and the atmosphere was electric. And honestly, it was just good to have the crowds back and just feel the vibe on course and people interacting with one another once again, people sharing information with one another, what they like on the day. And the most important, the best thing of the day was when everyone shouts for the same winner, or you're on the same page with one another. And I think the Durban July, the main race, you guys had the winner, so you must have been over the moon with that.
Sparkling water.
Yeah.
That was an experience and a half. There's just something so special about
Voices were gone after that race. Voices were gone after that race.
I don't think my voice came back yet.
Is that why you're a little soft, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, a little soft speaking today. Okay. What is your favorite, and do you think too, because you're also involved in the industry, what is your favorite, most memorable memory in racing thus far? I'll start with you, and I'm going that way.
Sure, Warren. That's difficult because I think there's a lot of moments in racing that you can remember for all the good things, but there are quite a lot. I can't sort of single out one. Maybe Yeshay can single out one because I know that speaking to him off air, he does have one.
For me, it was Dance as a Daughter and Pocket Power in the July.
Okay.
I loved the way it was called home, and I used to love Pocket Power as a racehorse. It was my favorite racehorse.
Okay.
And I think it was in the shirtleaf colours, if I'm not mistaken. So that's why
Yes,
I loved it.
quite right. The
Yeah.
shirtleaf colours, yeah.
And
absolutely.
I used to follow that horse with great trepidation.
Okay.
And Akshay, yours?
I kind of have two, because one of them was when I saw Warm for the first time, because that's my favorite racehorse of all time. I used to absolutely love him. And then this year, Sparkling Water, just watching the filly beat the boys was just amazing.
I think also one could be when Do It Again did win his second Durban July. That was quite special, especially a horse managing to do it for the second time. It's never easy, but he managed to pull it off, and he's a horse that's obviously a real champion, and that was a nice win from him. And Warren, what would be your sort of best racing memory?
Probably when I had my first winner as an owner.
Yeah.
That would have been my first, my best memory for sure. But let's crack on and get to these questions, because we've got a few minutes still to go. There's always in life positiveness, negativeness, if that's a word.
Negativity.
Negativity, that's right, negativity. See, as my friends say, when I hit a wobble like it, those are the days when I wasn't at school, I was at the tote. There's a lot of negativity and positivity, criticism, which irritates me because we don't want that. And I said it in one of the interviews yesterday with Moosey's gestures were just wonderful, and we don't want to focus on the negative. Everybody needs to stop trying to bring everybody down and move forward, and then the whole world will be a better place. Yeah. Have you had any people say to you, the syndicate won't work and things not going to be good? And
we've definitely had the remarks here and there, and definitely reached our ears. But, you take it on the chin and you move on. We're trying to do something good. We're not trying to hurt anyone. We're just trying to bring racing to the people. We're trying to just let people experience that joy and that fulfillment factor, of owning a racehorse and leading it in hopefully one day.
Just touching on bringing racing to the people, how is the sort of for people to get access into the syndicate? How is it accessible to the punters out there?
Yeah, it's fairly easy. So we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. All our contact details are on there. The Peoples Syndicate on Facebook, the Peoples Syndicate on Instagram, and from there get in touch with us, and then we can hopefully get you racing with us.
So, touching on the shares, how many horses are available for the people out there to get involved in?
So at the moment, just the two, but
Would those be the two babies?
they're two babies, yeah. But we're hoping that we'll get a few more in the coming months.
Oh, that's good, Warren. And also, I mean, it's good to get new people involved in the game, and it's good that they do have two new horses available, and you can get in as low as 1%.
Yeah. So you can take a share from 1% to whatever you like, but 1% gets you in the syndicate and hopefully gets you to the stables. Come visit us at Summerfeld and at the races, obviously.
That's brilliant.
There's no doubt that with the regular meetings that you have with the founding members and with the new members and the communication, the team will be going out of their way to ensure that this works. And the way things are going at the moment, it's increasing. It's going to work.
Oh no,
We're going to,
definitely.
it's going to. It's yes. You open up a coffee shop or you open up a business. You don't open up with the intention of failing. You open up with the intention of succeeding.
Yeah.
And I have every faith that this will succeed.
Oh no, we really, really pray and hope that it does, but I'm sure it will. And like I said, with the backing of Mr. Fullion and Mr. Muller, I'm pretty sure we'll get to where we need to be.
You get a shirt, lovely gold and
Yeah,
black shirts.
our TPS shirt.
TPS shirts. So those are also available to members should they want. Quickly, because we're going to wrap up in about 7 or 8 minutes. Luck, superstitions.
Oh, definitely.
So you believe in racing is you need to have luck.
In anything you do, you have to have luck. But racing, there's a lot of superstition.
Okay.
Like if a horse is my favorite number, then I feel more confident on it.
Okay.
Like Sparkling Water was number 12.
Your favorite number?
No, my favorite number is 7, but 12 is an important birthday for me.
Okay.
So I was quite confident about that.
Oh, fantastic. And Akshay, Yeshay rather, sorry. I always get them confused.
Yes,
There's
yes.
too many shays. Like you and your brother, Rahiel. Too many heels, too many shays.
Yes.
I don't have any particular superstition. It's just that before a race meeting, before I attend, I have to cut my nails.
You have to.
I have to. It's weird, but
Okay.
if it's
Well, Robbie Hill's walking around here somewhere, trainer Robbie Hill, and when I interviewed him once, he said he would never cut his nails on a day of a race meeting or before a race meeting. So it
Before.
shows you how everybody's superstitions are different.
Yeah.
So there's no set routine that you have to follow before going to the races or anything of that sort.
Well, I do have a thing about wearing a red shirt. Like, if I wear a red shirt, most likely I'm coming home with 0 in the pocket. But yeah, that's about it.
Excuse me. You've spoken about how to access the syndicate and how to get involved in the different platforms and all that goes with it. So there's just 2 things I want to touch on quickly. The first thing is, if there was a choice, I said to you boys and girls, because there's also girls involved, but I'm talking to the 2 of you. You've got a choice. You can either continue to be a punter, or you have to give up punting and you can choose to be a racehorse owner. But you can't do both. Which one would you choose? I'll start with you.
That's a very hard question, but I think personally for me, there's just something about punting and studying the form and picking a winner that makes it so special because you worked for that winner. So I'd have to say punting.
For
Older
me,
brother?
For me, after the experiences we've had with owning these horses and the journey we've come with them, I think ownership is definitely number 1 for me.
Okay.
And I love punting.
So that speaks loud. That
Yeah.
speaks volumes.
Yeah.
We're on the second to last question. Your hobbies? Anything else besides racing? Sports? You can, sport.
Definitely soccer and stuff, but we support Manchester United, so...
Oh, that's a
not
terrible
doing too
team.
It's not a terrible thing. I don't know
Terrible.
anything about soccer.
Absolutely
so Manchester
terrible.
United, no good, hey?
No good, Warren. No
Okay.
good. They are old news.
It's okay, Warren. They're too young to remember the treble.
Oh,
So I still
Okay.
support them.
And of course, family. You're married. You've got a young one on the way, and you have kids, and so the family is well established and firmly part of your life, obviously.
Yeah, and lucky for me, the wife does love horse racing, so at least I get away there.
I want to end. I want to end with the quick story about Uncle Philip, who is a gentleman that we call Uncle Philip out of respect. He's part of the syndicate, But tell us his story.
Yeah.
You've got 35 seconds because his whole life he's been a punter.
Yeah, it's weird. So we just met him on the race course and we introduced him to the concept of the syndicate and he liked it. So he took a share in the horse and he became part of the syndicate. And we brought him up to the stables and, we visited the horse at the stables and he touched the horse and then he had a little tear in his eye. And then I said, Uncle Philip, what's wrong? And he's like, in his 30 plus years of punting, that's the first time he laid his hand on a horse. And that's what we are about. That's what we want.
That is exactly that's
a
why
wonderful story.
It is a wonderful story, and maybe we'll even get Uncle Philip when he's got a time and he's able to come and sit and talk with us, and we'll interview him and find out more about that, because that is what it's about. It's not about that winning bet. Of course it's about the winning bet, but it's not only about the winning bet. It's not only about the horse racing at the race course. You come and have breakfast here, you come and watch the gallops, you go and touch the horse, you go and get lectured by the trainer. So there's lots to do with it.
Childhood dreams coming true.
Pardon?
Childhood dreams coming true,
absolutely. And to think that the gentleman had been punting for 30 years and he's been to the races and the horses from here to the tree away and he hasn't touched the horse ever in his life.
Yeah.
So there we go. Guys, all that's left for me is to say thank you and to say that we wish you all the very best. I'm sure in the next couple of months we'll come back and do another podcast and get an update, and you're most welcome to come and chat to us, and thanks for your passion for horse racing, and thanks to you and all the other punters and racing lovers and owners that drive the game, because we need it.
Sure.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Warren and Rahiel, for having us.
Rahiel?
It's brilliant. It's brilliant to have new people in the game, Warren. We always say that we need to get new people in the game, and it's good that we have a new syndicate and they're getting people involved. I mean, it's just brilliant, especially with the stable tours.
Yeah, absolutely. The stable tours are a good thing, and we can even go to stud farm tours and all that, go and see foals being born and coverings and all the rest of it. But the Peoples Syndicate is one of the many, many syndicates. I've said it on every platform. Plenty syndicates to get available, partnerships, and get yourselves, investigate in all the different syndicates and get yourself a racehorse and have some fun. From Warren, Lenferna, Rahiel, Radhakrishna, the Sathanand brothers, and all that are involved behind the scenes, punt well, thank you for your support, and as always, we'll see you in the number one box.
Yeah.